What up, guys? Today, I just kind of wanted to go over this play on PayPal, how I caught it, how it was on my watch list, why I added it late, and then break that down. But also have been asked about, how to play the gap ups or the gap downs, and kind of how I play them. There's no one way that's exactly right. That's the beauty of trading, but that's something really cool to see. So this is yesterday's flow on PayPal, and the one thing I really noticed that made me put on the list was this 17200 call, right? Way up here, but it was also being bought at the 121 level, as well as these 210 calls at the one or on 121 and the 205 on 17. So that really sparked my interest in PayPal in terms of the flow. Just looking at these high volume OTM calls with a close expiration, that really sparked it. But I also knew on the downside we had this 1231 187.5 put, which could have acted as a magnet in the other direction, pulling it down. So either way, I knew there was going to be a decent sized play. PayPal was also at a very key support level on the daily chart. All right, when looking at this daily chart, right, this candle wasn't here. These are all price targets. That doesn't matter that much. But as we can see, right, PayPal was in the support zone. It wasn't the biggest support zone in the world, but it needed to either choose one way. Bulls or bears needed to get in control in order to either make a move up or test this 187, 185, 183, 185 level and act as support again. So when it comes to playing gap ups or gap downs, the one thing that I do when playing gap ups and gap downs, it really helps. One thing that I do on gap ups or gap downs, right, is wait on the retest. The reason why is I see a lot of newer traders, and I was definitely one of them, who have burnt their accounts up trying to chase this here, and then they panic. The emotion sets in, it tanks down, ends up retesting and going the old gap and go. If this were flipped, it would be the opposite, right? So tests this level was just a PT I had based off the hourly chart. So on the flip side, it would have been the opposite, right? So tested, this level wouldn't have been here, whatever. We would have waited for that retest of the put trigger, and then if it doesn't reclaim it, play the downside, the put side. One other question that was asked regarding playing the gaps was, do I move my call or put triggers up or down based on pre-market levels? And I do not. A reason for that is because I want to wait on the retest. I never use after hours or pre-market levels. You can do this in order to kind of get that bias and kind of not bias. We don't want bias. In order to kind of get what people are thinking the day of, but I don't move up my call or put triggers. I wait on the retest. Another reason for that is I don't want to chase plays high or get in plays way too early or way too late based on just off pre-market levels. I like the intraday levels that have more volume and more people either buying or selling at certain levels and a more respectable level in which we can play it off of. My original call level from yesterday was this 189.8 level. Didn't get an exact perfect retest, but we did get the retest and hold a closure 3 different times, basically a triple bottom here on this 5-minute above 190. So I entered here, was able to play and get confirmation here on VWAP break, and then this 192.2 level was a big one for me. I scaled here on this big one, scale out on the rips when we're playing calls. Cool. And I was able to scale out here, lock in some good profit. But above this VWAP confirms, there's buyers in control here. It was a gap and go, so we have a lot of momentum, and that's something really cool to see. My second scale out was right up in this area, and then I left some runners, which ended up getting stopped out around in here. Cool. I actually was able to play PayPal twice today, and the second one was on this wedge break here on the 5-minute. Right here we have this fake breakout, and it ends up tanking back down, but it holds and confirms VWAP again. Consistently testing, we get this little consolidation here. It broke out of my pattern, retested on the next candle, and then broke out again above the 194. Able to scale here, 194. Have my second still chilling. We're able to hold that 194 level, and then we retest the 195 level. I was fully out here on 195. We did push the 196 level, which was really, really cool to see. But I was going to lock in profits, and I knew, there could be a chop here or there. So that's something I really wanted to see, and I was able to take those profits out just off some pretty simple things. So that's really cool when looking at the PayPal breakdown. PayPal, it's again on my watch list for tonight, for tomorrow actually, because this 194 level, if we can retest it and bounce off, I think PayPal sees 200, 199 to 200 level, and the reason I say that is because on the daily, this VPA over here, we really don't have much until that 200 level. We have the 195.25, so over that would be the 196 level, right? That's my call trigger. Cool. Over that, 199.2 right here off this double bottom, and then I'm thinking 200 to 202.25, 202.5, possibly by the end of the week. It would be really cool to see some continuation out of PayPal, which we haven't seen in a while. It's a high growth name, and another catalyst could possibly be spending over Christmas was up this year. So that's something really cool to see. In the long term, we have this gap above from 216 to 226 as well. Really like to see that. So this play is something that I really, really like in PayPal, and there's a reason why it's on my watch list again, because it can move in either direction pretty good as well. And the flow coming in today was also really nice. I'll go over that real quick. So looking at, this is today's flow from PayPal. We see these 200 calls getting hit again, getting hit on the 121 and the 107, 202.5 getting hit. This 190 gives us that downside range I like in all my plays. But we also see these 205s getting hit, 210s, and then someone taking a long here. Was that a June 17th 270 call? That's really cool to see as well as these 230 puts, maybe hedging their possible position or re-entering off of money lost, which is something really cool I like to see when going through this flow is are people starting to get a long bias on it? And in this case, it does look like people are finally rolling their June calls over instead from these puts that they were originally holding.